This article is about a legal concept, not a political union of territories, also known in Poland as confederacja. A confederacja was an ad hoc association formed by Polish-Lithuanian szlachta, clergy, cities, or military forces in the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth for the attainment of stated aims. A confederacja often took the form of an armed rebellion aimed at redressing perceived abuses or trespasses of some authority. Such confederations acted in lieu of state authority to force the demands upon that authority. They could be seen as a primary expression of direct democracy and right of revolution in the Commonwealth, and as a way for the nobles to act on their grievances and against the state's central authority. History and function. In the late 13th century, confederations of cities, aiming to support public safety and provide security from rampant banditry, appeared, with the first confederation being that of several towns in 1298. In the mid-14th century, confederations of nobility, directed against the central authorities, emerged, with the first such confederation being that of 1352. During interregnums, confederations formed to replace the inactive royal court, protect internal order, and defend the country from external dangers. The confederations, as a right of revolution, were recognized in Polish law through the Henrytian Articles, part of the Pacta Conventa sworn by every Polish king since 1576. They stated that if the monarch did not recognize or abused the rights and privileges of the nobility, the nobles would no longer be bound to obey him and would have the legal right to disobey him. With the beginning of the 17th century, confederations became an increasingly significant element of the Commonwealth's political scene. In the 17th and 18th centuries, confederations were organized by magnates and were either pro or anti-royal. A confederation not recognized by the king was considered a rockers, although some of the rockers would be eventually recognized by the king, who could even join them himself. Most pro-royal confederations were usually formed as a response to an anti-royal one, and some would take a form of an extraordinary session of the parliament, as happened in 1710, 1717 and 1735. Confederations were usually formed in one part of the country, and could expand into general confederations, taking in most or all of the voivodeships of the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. However, even such general confederations would be formed separately for the Crown of the Kingdom of Poland and for the Grand Duchy of Lithuania. Each confederation had a key document explaining its goals, known as the Act of the Confederation, which was deposited with the court. Additional resolutions of the confederates, known as sanctia, would also be deposited with the court. Membership of the confederation was voluntary and required an oath. The executive branch of a confederation was headed by a marshal and a group of advisers, each known as consigliers confederacji. A marshal and associated consigliers were known as a generality. A confederation would also have a larger council, similar to a parliament, which made decisions by majority vote. Until around the mid-18th century, resolutions of the council had to be unanimous, but afterwards, majority voting became more common. The chief military commanders of confederations were known as regimentars. Also in the 18th century, an institution known as a confederated Sejm evolved. It was a parliament session that operated under the rules of a confederation. Its primary purpose was to avoid being subject to disruption by the liberum veto, unlike the National Sejm, which was paralyzed by the veto during this period. On some occasions, a confederated Sejm was formed from the whole membership of the National Sejm, so that the liberum veto would not operate there. Confederations were prescribed by law in 1717, but continued to operate, indicating a weakness of the Commonwealth's central authority. They were also abolished by the Constitution of May 3, 1791. But in practice this prohibition was not observed. The May 3 constitution was overthrown in mid-1792 by the Targowica Confederation of Polish magnates backed by Russian Empire and eventually joined, under extreme duress, by King Stanislaw II August. The ensuing Russian military intervention led to the Second Partition of Poland in 1793. One of the last instances of confederation came in 1812, when the General Confederation of the Kingdom of Poland was formed in Warsaw to Napoleon I's campaign against the Russian Empire. List of confederations. Some confederations from Polish history included a confederation of towns in Greater Poland in 1298, aiming to provide public safety, recreated in 1302, a confederation of towns in Silesia in 1311, aiming to provide public safety, a confederation of towns from 1349 to 1350, aiming to provide public safety, confederation of Maciej Borkowicz in Greater Poland, opposing the disliked Starostwiecka of Panowice, confederation of Bartus of Ardarlanowo, formed in Radom, aiming to provide security for the period of interregnum following the death of King Louis I, a confederation in Radom, formed by magnates, nobility and town, in support of Queen Jadwiga, Piotrko confederation, during a dispute about clergy's right to collect tithe, Wielin confederation, supporting the king against the Hussite invasion, Sierra Rads confederation and Korching confederation, confederation of Spitek of Melstand supporting the Hussites, Prussian confederation of Prussian towns, formed in Kwidzyn, against the Teutonic Order, LWOW confederation of the town and the nobility against a disliked official, Chicken War, Warsaw confederation, formed in Sejm, Zebrzydowski rebellion, Isoche confederation, military and nobility against the Swedish invasion, Lubomir's Rockers, Sztebrzes confederation against the election of Mitchell Korybat Wisniawicki, Golab confederation for the election of Mitchell Korybat Wisniawicki, Starogard confederations supporting Sweden, Greater Poland confederation, Opatow confederation and Warsaw confederation, both formed against the Saxon King Augustus II of Poland, Sandomierz confederation formed in support of the Saxon King Augustus II of Poland, Gorzyca confederation and Tarnograd confederation, both formed against the Saxon King Augustus II of Poland, Grodziad's confederations supporting Stanislaw Leszczyński, Kolbasowe confederations supporting Stanislaw Leszczyński, Zhikov confederations supporting Stanislaw Leszczyński, Wilno confederation formed by Zaroryski family against Karol Stanislaw Panikochanku's Radziwiłł, Slak confederation formed by Greek Orthodox believers, demanding the restoration of rights, Taurin confederation formed by Protestant believers, demanding the restoration of rights, Radom confederation formed by the religious minorities in support of Karol Stanislaw Panikochanku's Radziwiłł, Bar confederation formed by opponents of King Stanislaw August Poniatowski, Russian Empire and the religious minorities, Targowica confederation formed by conservatives opposing the Constitution of the 3rd of May, Grodno confederation and General Confederation of the Kingdom of Poland, formed in Warsaw, in support of Napoleon I and against the Russian Empire.